All right, this week's question is, can I lose my escrow deposit? Stay tuned and we'll talk about it.
You better get fired up.
It's Friday, baby. I hope you guys are excited. I'm excited. We got a big weekend coming up. I'm busier than heck tomorrow, but I got family day every Sunday, so I'm excited for family day. So the question this week is, can I lose my escrow deposit? A lot of people, especially if you haven't sold a home before or you're in a different state, you've got different rules around escrow deposits. And if you've only sold a home once, maybe you never had an issue with it. You forgot you even put it down. And so you don't necessarily know what are the ways I could be at risk with this, right? So typically you've got contingencies within an offer. Not every offer. Some offers have no contingencies. That's what makes them so attractive to the seller. So if you've got multiple offers you're trying to win, or you just love the property and you do not want to lose it, you might come in with very few, if any, contingencies. I don't know if that's true. I think there's always going to be a contingency in there. I've never seen an offer with zero contingencies. But there's major contingencies that most people are considering when it comes to escrow deposits. So let's just talk about a few of those, right? So you're going to usually in the state of Florida, although it can be any other number that you negotiate, it's usually 3 days from acceptance is when that buyer has to have their deposit in. How much does the deposit need to be? It can be $1. It can be $1 million, right? It depends on what you put in the offer and what that seller accepts. It does legally have to be something, right? So you got to have at least $1. You can't have nothing. You've got to have something to show consideration for the property. That gets held by a third-party company. It's usually the title company, but it doesn't have to be. I've seen the brokerage hold it. I've seen another title company hold it. I've seen escrow companies hold it. There's a lot of different people who can hold it. But if you hold it, there's state laws that govern what you can do with that deposit once you hold it, right? So you're not just able to say, oh, the buyer's right, I'm giving it back to the buyer. Oh, I agree with the seller, I'm giving it to the seller. No, there are very specific rules that you have to follow. So 99.9% of the time, if a deal falls apart, the deposit's going to go to whoever the cancellation says it goes to. So the list agent and the buyer's agent are going to present a cancellation. Well, one of them is going to. It's going to be the buyer saying to their buyer's agent, hey, I want to cancel. Usually, I guess it could be a seller too. And they're going to sign, and it's probably going to say deposit to go back to the buyer. The listing agent's going to get it and present it to their seller, and the seller's either going to say, okay, fine. Maybe we're not happy about it, but it is what it is. Let's sign it and move on. Or they're going to say, no, I don't agree with this. I want to fight for it. And now we're going to go through all the different processes that you have to go through when you've got an escrow dispute. Now, I'm not going to get into that with this, but I'll tell you some of the reasons that you would lose your escrow deposit. So the biggest one is if you have no contingency. Well, the only one really is if you have no contingencies left to protect you. So let's do this a little bit different way. Let's talk about some of the contingencies that would protect you. So if you've got an inspection contingency, typically I see inspection contingencies that are 5, 7, or 10 days long, right? Most are 5 to 7. Meaning, let's just say 7. You've got 7 days to not only get the inspection done, but to do any negotiating you want to do and agree to a credit or a repair, or we're going to do nothing and we're going to move forward, or we're going to back out, or whatever it is you decide you want to do, and the buyer and seller both agree, you get that in writing before that amount of days, in this case 7, and you're good to go. You move forward. Now, if you can't agree, maybe you just want to back out for any reason during the inspection period, you do it, you get your deposit back, right? Maybe you try to negotiate a credit and they won't give you a credit and you want to back out. You back out, you get your deposit back. Maybe you try to get a $5,000 credit. They'll offer you a $2,500 credit. You don't want it. You want the full $5,000. They won't give it to you. So you back out. You get your deposit back. Maybe you want something repaired, or 8 things repaired, or 3 things repaired, and they won't give you everything you want when it comes to repairs, and you want to back out. Cool. You back out. You get your deposit. Pretty easy, right? So in the inspection period, if you're not happy, you don't, excuse me, you don't want to move forward, you just say, hey, I want to back out. I want my deposit, and you're going to get your deposit, right? I've never seen a situation where you're not going to get your deposit. Now, could it be written in that your deposit is non-refundable for any reason? Yes, and I've seen that. If that's written in, well, then you're probably going to lose your deposit, okay? Because that scratches out the ability to get your deposit back. Now, that doesn't mean you can't back out due to inspection. It doesn't mean you can't try to negotiate for other things. It just means if you back out, you don't get your deposit. But you also don't have to buy the house. So maybe you lose 5, 10, 20 grand, but you don't have to buy the $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 home. Okay. And that's a decision for you to make. Now, another big contingency is financing. So the lender has to express, usually via a pre-approval letter, that you are good to go on financing. Okay. If you're cash, you check a different box that says cash, no contingency on financing, meaning I'm going to buy. If I don't buy, you get my deposit because I've got the full ability. I'm in full control. When you've got a lender, say Wells Fargo, that lender's in control. So if they say no to you for some reason, you need a contingency protecting you, allowing you to get out and get your deposit back. What are some of those reasons? With a good lender, you may find that, well, they may find that you had great debt to income ratios. And then after you got approved and got the offer accepted, you went and bought a $100,000 car. Boom. Now that changes all your numbers and you're declined, right? Maybe you lose your job. Maybe one of you dies. Maybe your credit goes to hell because you quit paying your bills. A lot of different things that could happen between the time you got approved and the time they check right before you close. And now that financing contingency kicks in. And even though it's a bummer you lose the house, you're protected with that contingency and you get your money back. Here's another one. If you're FHA or VA, there's a built-in appraisal contingency. If you're conventional, you're going to want to write that in with an appraisal contingency addendum. And if it doesn't appraise, you can back out and get your deposit back. Okay. So that's another one. So it's got to appraise. I don't want to say you have to keep your job, but if you lose your job, you're at risk. I don't want to say you have to keep your high credit score, but if your credit score drops, you're at risk. I don't even want to say if you die, you lose it, because I've seen situations where you don't, but you are at risk, right? And if you go out and buy something, my gosh, tell your lender because you're at risk. So certainly tell them. But all those things you're protected when it comes to your deposit, okay? Sale contingency, right? You write it in your offer, I must sell my home before I buy this home, and your home does not sell. You're protected. Doesn't mean if your home doesn't sell by a certain date, you can't go pay cash or get a third party, hard money lender, or there's a million other options, seller financing, whatever. A lot of different things you could do to keep the deal alive. All it's saying is if you want to back out because of it, you can use that, protect the fact that you get your deposit back. All right. So those are probably the biggest three: financing, and I'm adding appraisal to that, inspection, and sale of a home. But there are others, right? But really what it comes down to is looking in the contract and saying, is there an out contractually? Or I always tell my clients, are you just changing your mind? If you're just changing your mind and there's nothing there to protect you, then yeah, you're going to lose your money. And you should. And I'm not saying that rudely. I'm saying it because flip the coin. You're the seller. You're making life plans, right? You're hiring cleaners to come clean your home, handymen to repair your home, roofers to put a new roof on or repair your roof, movers to come and move all your stuff. You're putting deposits down on the movers. You're putting a deposit down on the 30-day rental you've got because you still got to go look for a home. You're making big plans, and some of those plans are financial plans, like financial commitments. You're protected as a seller, and if you're not, man, I want some of that money you've just put down because I got to pay for some of this crap, right? Not to mention the fact that you're going to take a hit as a seller. If you look at the average, I don't have the stats, but if you look at the average sales time and the average sales amount for homes that sell to a first buyer, right? Whoever you go under contract first, you close with them, versus a subsequent buyer, right? Second, third, fourth, however many it takes, but not the first buyer. I would bet my life that first buyer is going to give you the best offer the overwhelming majority of the time. And on average, absolutely, you're going to win out with that best offer, that first offer. Meaning, when you back out as a buyer, that's painful for a seller, not just in emotions and timing and convenience, but in money. Because on average, they're not going to be able to get that offer again. So it makes sense, right? So anyway, they're the biggest reasons that you're protected. Again, every offer is different. All the contingencies can be different. Your situation can be different. But when it comes down to it too, remember this. You have to go within the rules of the contract. And if it goes to an escrow dispute within, at least in the state of Florida, every Florida is going to have different rules, the rules of an escrow dispute. It's going to tell you exactly what to do, how many days you got to do it, who does it. Is it, through arbitration, mediation, court, whatever. It's all dictated through the rules. And if you get that far, you better either have a realtor who understands all of that process, or you better hire an attorney to explain all that to you. Now, if it's $2-3 grand, maybe it's not worth it. And you just, whatever, whether you decide to push, not push, whatever, it's $2-3 grand. It is what it is. I don't say that like $2-3 grand, go burn it. I say it like, if you're going to push for that, hiring an attorney is going to cost you $2-4 grand just to explain it. So just do what you're going to do, right? Don't risk paying an attorney and then you win and you end up even. That makes no sense. But if you've got 20 grand, 40 grand, 50 grand, you might want to hire an attorney and have a discussion about that, right? Be aware, with a lot of new construction, they do not care if you're contingent on sale. They do not care if you think you're contingent on financing. You might be able to back out in some cases with those contingencies, but because you're usually, not always, signing their contract, not a normal Florida as is contract, their contract's going to have different teeth in it. A lot of times that makes your deposit non-refundable. Figure that out. Ask that question of the rep before you sign on the dotted line. I've had many people, I bet I've had 6, 8, 10 people over the span of, the 6-7 years I've been down here in Florida, reach out to me crying that they think they're about to lose $20,000 to $50,000 because they can't get their financing or they can't sell their home or whatever it is, right? So ask that question. I'm not saying don't sign it. I'm saying know what you're signing before you sign it. Guys, thanks for joining me. I appreciate it. If there's anything I can answer in a future question you've got questions, I've got answers, feel free to put it in the comments or send me a private DM on Facebook. If you enjoy this content, man, I'd love to get it out to others too. Go to joerosenshow.com and subscribe. It helps me push this message out to others and it helps us grow. So thank you so much again. Have a fantastic Friday and an even better weekend. Take care, guys.